Monday Night Football, obviously, Cowboys sneak past the Chargers 20-17. There was questions about CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott's relationship. Is Brandon Cooks the right weapon to bring in? Literally, if Dak was hitting Michael Gallup, it was crap. Everybody else, he was hitting everybody
That's true.
left and right. So that was pretty interesting. The Chargers defense, I mean, Sebastian Joseph Day said it after the game. He's like, I thought we fought as a defense. I thought we did a lot better than we have in games past. The only problem is they couldn't get off the field on that final drive, like it's happened in Tennessee, like it happened against Miami, even against the Raiders and the no, against the Raiders. I guess they got off after the Asante Samuel interception, but other and I guess in Minnesota as well. Whatever. But still, you get the gist of it. They weren't able to get off the field, and at least they settled for a field goal. But obviously, the Chargers weren't able to come back and win. So Dak Prescott and them are so yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward with them.
They're
But
at a text that got you off.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a weird
for
one.
real.
But my bad. Okay, real quick, what
Weirdo text.
real quick. What is the problem with the Chargers? I'm going to start off with Dan. Is it coaching?
Whoops, yeah.
Is it coaching the players, or are they cursed? And is Herbert clutch, Dan? Well, that one I don't even have to ask you.
I think it's a mix of all of it, right? I touched this a little bit last night when we did our wrap up. Besides the fact that, we have certain scumbags on this program who can't let sleeping dogs lie and pick them to win the division. So now, obviously, they're a crapshoot to the bottom because the Gilberto curse lives on.
I was 4-1, and the one loss was your favorite team.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. But I think, honestly, we talked about it yesterday. The problem, what we've seen in the past ending the games like Miami and some of these other games, Kellen Moore, I don't think still understands what type of personnel he has out there. He had plenty of time on the clock, and you already saw they were getting moved up front. The pocket was collapsing all game. There's no need to go into a 5-step or 7-step drop. Just get the ball out fast, dude. Get the ball out fast, move clock, get up the field. I think that's been a huge problem. I think it's a little bit of everything. I talked about it last night also. I don't know if there's a lot of accountability happening in those rooms. Obviously, I'm not in it. I don't know. But the fact that they can't make open field tackles and wrap up and run their feet and be textbook, I just don't understand what it comes down to. Clearly, coaching failed them in the sense that they haven't done enough tackling drills. You'd think you're a damn professional getting paid $6 million, you'd be able to tackle somebody. They just have not. They have not looked good since they started the season. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Go check out What's Up, both of you, on a more in-depth thing. They just have not looked good all season. Even the team that I thought they were going to get going against, which was the Raiders, they didn't. They look like an amateur team out there half the time. They can't put it together. They can't figure it out. So I think, quite frankly, I know it's probably a cop-out, but it's a mix between all of them. I don't know what it is. I think it's just a mix between all of them. There's just deeper-rooted problems that people have to discover for themselves and find out what it is.
Well said, Dan. Vic, go ahead.
Watching that game, I got to watch the whole game for the first time, sit down and watch a Chargers game outside of the Raiders game. And just seeing it, I understand why people get on Brandon Staley. So I'm not even going to go there. My biggest thing was Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was brought in. He was scoring all these points, 30 points a game when he was with the Cowboys. And things just look rough inside the red zone. Like there was that one play where he was telling he was telling the running back, what's his name? I'm like blanking on his name right now. But he was Austin Eckler. He went in motion, and then Herbert is telling him like, no, move, and he's like, no, I'm gonna stay right here, and I'm like, what is going on? And then you see the whole meme with Kellen Moore, and I'm just like, you can't have this dysfunction like after a bye week. Like, what is going on? Like, this is why you take the bye week. I get it. You took rest time to rest, but you should be ready to go. And it just looked like a team that was not well prepared offensively. Defensively, they played great. Like they were stopping the run.
Yeah.
They were not allowing the Cowboys to set up. Like if it wasn't for CD Lamb, the Cowboys probably lose this game. And so that was the biggest thing, was like where I thought Kellen Moore was going to be. Like he was in a revenge game. This is where you pull out all your stops, you pull out all your gadgets, and it wasn't there. And it was just surprising. Like I think this loss was on Kellen Moore, and that was my biggest takeaway from this match.
Gilbert.
Yeah, so I have a few lists. I'm trying to remember everything here, but yeah, they try to get creative with that weird wildcat with Austin Eckler and
Oh
Justin
my
Herbert as a wide
God.
receiver. I'm like, what the hell
Don't
are we
even
doing
get me
here?
started.
Yeah, on Kellen Moore. So he's at his moment. Like they were scoring in Miami, against Miami at SoFi. They scored against Minnesota, so they've had their moments. But yeah, they are trying to fill each other out. It didn't have Austin Eckler for a bit. I mean, that could be some of the miscommunication.
But that's why Gilbert's my bad. Go ahead, my bad. Sorry.
Are you gonna give me? It sound like you want to give me some credit here. Or?
No, yeah, I was gonna say that's why when you said like there's no point in firing Brandon Staley, like who are you gonna give the reins to?
Yeah.
Like Kellen Moore's still figuring out who, and then without Mike Williams, Kellen Moore is even more in disarray with what he has at his disposal.
Yeah, like they're still trying to figure out their way and learn. There's been injuries, so
Yeah.
when you ask me the question of who to blame, like I think I'm gonna go to the defense. But before I get there, I'm gonna be a little more critical of Justin Herbert because he is making $52 million per year. We consider him, I think he's a top quarterback in the NFL. I do want to see playoff wins, but like it's a team game. You got to get to the playoffs together. So it's tough to judge that. I'm not happy about the 27-point collapse there. I don't have to remind everybody. And it feels like all of Herbert's like memorable games are like when he's carrying the team, but they lose, and that's kind of been the summary. But yesterday when he's missing throws to Keenan Allen, like that's not a good look there. And I don't know if you could blame the finger, but it's not a historian finger. But there was something there where he's off, and he usually never misses throws like that. So, and yeah, maybe it could be something in the headspace. I don't know, but I just want to say,
remember that hit that he took in the second quarter, that helmet to helmet.
Oh, don't even remind me. I was thinking that the whole time.
That was a big hit, actually. Yeah,
don't even say the word.
Yeah. So I just want to say I'm gonna be a little more critical because he's making more money. But I've seen this guy enough, especially early in his career. Like this guy, he's a baller. He tends to carry this team when they need him most, and it does. I think Fernando, you brought it up to me yesterday. It does feel a little bit of Phillip Rivers vibes, and I know Dan doesn't like that because he thought Rivers could have done more. Herbert, tends to do more.
There's a difference between the two, and I think the main difference, we actually have leadership now. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay,
I think that's the main difference.
Then let me go to the defense because they did kind of for the most part held it down, and Mike McCarthy has some blunders there, but he got CeeDee Lamb involved early, and the Chargers couldn't stop CeeDee Lamb, and Tony Pollard had that big was a 60-yard play, whatever it was.
Unbelievable. Total lapse.
Yeah. So
they called the Chargers for 2 illegal men downfield, and somebody in the locker room was like, "Why don't you look at that play for illegal man downfield?"
Well, that's my point. Is like this feels like an undisciplined. I know it was a long way to get there, but undisciplined defense. Like all these flags, and they got bailed out by the Cowboys having 11 flags. The defense at 9, and like. A smart player like Derwin James should have been getting flagged, multiple times like that. And so I think just being undisciplined, you would think with Brandon Staley, year 3 that wouldn't occur. But like that's the thing. I'm like, after a while, like come on, like do more. And I'll say this. I mean, it could be my last thing, and it could be controversial. Like I kind of want to see more from Joey Bosa, but I know he's been hurt. So Fernando, you could take it away from there, but I just need to see more from this defense. And I'm always going back to the defense. I know Herbert wasn't at his best, but the defense always feels like you could have done more. At least don't be so undisciplined and make your tackles, like Dan said.
Part of me thinks that there's frustration starting to grow with this team.
I was about to say something similar.
There's something where it's like, dude, why does everything keep on happening? What the hell is it? I'm sure players can put their finger on it. If I can, they can too, but I'm not going to get into that. I was in my article today. I was critical of Justin. I thought Justin, he missed those 2 throws, and it's not like he missed them to Quentin Johnston or he missed it to Josh Palmer. He missed them to Keenan Allen. Him and Keenan Allen are on the same wavelength, but at the same time, I think Herbert got hit so much yesterday that at one point you're like
Seeing
you,
ghosts.
yeah, no, you start seeing ghosts at some point. You're like, oh crap, you're rushing your throws, you're doing all that. I mean, I've seen it before. I mean, that's kind of what's going on right now and what happened last year. And I'm not trying to compare the two at all. But that's what happened with Russell Wilson as well. That he started seeing ghosts, and he's like, oh crap, it's and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, it's happening right now to Patrick Mahomes as well. I know that Chiefs offensive line was really good, but he's making mistakes too. I think quarterback play is kind of coming down a little bit. I don't think it's as high as it once was, but no, but I think Justin deserves part of the blame. I mean, if you're gonna praise him when they win, you're gonna criticize him when he needs to, and I do think that he deserves some of it, but I'm gonna go for the offensive struggles. I'm gonna go more to the not even the offensive line, the extra guys, those other guys. Which running back did something yesterday? Neither one. Not even with block. Not even in blocking could they help. Gerald Everett, Donald Parham, Stone Smart, Trey McKitty.
Started.
Where are you guys? Quentin Johnson, Keelan Doss, like nobody except for Keenan Allen and even Josh Palmer, 4 catches, 60 yards. But other than those two, like they were moving the ball because of penalties from the Cowboys defense. That's basically what was happening. And that's the same thing that happened with the Raiders. They got off to that fast start, and then at one point it all froze. So either they need to go make a trade and maybe bring in another offensive weapon, which I just don't see them doing, but something has to change because they're really, I mean, besides Keenan Allen, and then there's a fat gap, and then it's Austin Eckler, and then there's a fat gap, and then it's Josh Palmer, and then there's gaps after that. It's like, where's the offensive production going to come from? That's why Gilbert on our good friend, oh my God, I'm blanking on his
Roger
name.
Lodge.
Roger Lodge. That's why when I was asked, do you think they'll make the playoffs? I said no. I mean, what can I go off of? The offensive line right now is a mess. The defense is a mess. The extra guys are a mess. It's just going to be tough. Without Mike Williams, this offense just doesn't. And fans have given him crap for so many years, and it's like now you're starting to notice because in those 4 games, you can cope for 4 games when he misses 2-3 games and stuff. Now it's a whole season. Now you're not going to be able to cope and kind of put the Band-Aid over. It's not gonna look pretty, and that's why I mean I'm kind of impressed with Herbert only throwing 2 picks so far in 5 games. That's actually kind of impressive with the lack thereof. But this weekend in Kansas City, I already know what's gonna happen. They're gonna just double Keenan Allen the whole game and be like, "Hey, you beat us," and I just don't know if anybody's gonna be able to do that. So, but I mean, moving on.
Before you move on, can I ask you guys this? Since you guys, have watched Herbert the most this season, is he getting hit more than any time in his career?
I don't know about that. I think last year was worse.
No, but last year he got rid of the football because he didn't want to. Like he didn't want to.
Well,
after that rib injury. He was like, screw this, and he would throw it away. Well, this year, I think Herbert, my bad, I'm sorry. No, I think this year Herbert's trying to play Superman a lot more where he's taking the football. He's trying to run for first downs. He's trying to do what he couldn't do last year. Last year, he couldn't run because he would be very selective. This year, I feel like he doesn't see anything, and he's like, F it, and he takes off running. And I feel like that's kind of the thing where I'm noticing that he's trying to play Superman, I think, a little bit too much, but so far at the start this season, I've seen him take some pretty gnarly hits. But no, I think that his sophomore year, Gilbert, that was the year when, remember, there was a couple of times where we're like, is he going to get up? Like, there was a couple of gnarly hits.
What was his name?
Yeah, there was a couple of gnarly hits he took his sophomore year. So to start the season, I'll say yes. But in overall, that sophomore year, I thought he took a
that one's the worst. Yeah.
Yep,
I was going to say, the only problem sometimes I have with him is that he needs to get rid of the football. And I'm talking about throwing it away. Like, he feels pressure, nothing's open. Just get rid of it, dude. Like, throw it at somebody's feet, throw it out of bounds, whatever you have to do.
You guys know,
but don't take hits. Don't take hits. Don't take
Smith,
sacks.
Right? The former NFL player, Achilles Smith.
Yeah,
played
at
Oregon.
Oregon. Yes.
Yeah. So his son right now is at Lincoln High School. He's they're the number 1 team in San Diego. And Dan was watching him the whole game. And that kid, if he doesn't feel anything is there, he's not going to force it. he throws it away, and Dan's like, dude, that's discipline right there
That's
at a young age, because we've seen other quarterbacks, and I mean, it starts at the high school level. They'll try and take off running and then get hit, or they'll try and force it and then interception. But Gilbert, go ahead. My bad. We didn't let you.
Well, off of that point, that's what happened to Geno Smith with the against the Bengals. Like, he was holding the ball way too long, couldn't make a decision, and he got hit a lot. He got hit 13 times by the Bengals. So things like that, if you're not quick and decisive, it's gonna hurt you. But I think you're on to something there, Fernando, with him being a little healthier, trying to do more. But then I kept watching. Every time he was smart though. Every time he fell on his hands, he will put the middle finger up, like, I'm not gonna land on it to mess it up worse. So I caught.
Well, you saw that one with Demarcus. Like Demarcus Lawrence took a shot on him on that one where they were backed up in their own end zone, and there was one where he got drilled. I think the Cowboys called a timeout, and Demarcus Lawrence, like, I'm never gonna say what I think the intent was, but he went up and he hit him, and he hit he tried to smack the ball with the hand and everything, and even Herbert was like, "Whoa, like, get the hell out of here!" So
the Micah Parsons sack, like, that was like, whoa,
that was Herbert receiving the ball in shotgun, and as soon as he was going up, Micah was already. But that's what Gilbert and I were talking about at halftime. At one point, Micah's gonna make his mark. No, my bad. I was talking about this with Eric. I didn't see Gilbert at halftime. And I told Eric it's going to be at the end of the game. That's when Micah's going to make, like, everybody's like, oh, Micah's quiet. No, he was disruptive. You go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Pressures.
One last thing. One thing I've noticed is that teams are starting to blitz at the end of games. Yeah. Yes, right?
The Dolphins did that. The Titans did that.
There's no self-scouting that's going on, and that's been the biggest problem. Like, you don't understand yet what Quentin Johnson likes to do or can do, because I don't think he's made an impact in any of these games, which I think is a huge problem. I still say I don't know why they're not using I always butcher his name. Is it Darius? Is it Darius Davis?
Davis, yes.
I don't know why they don't get him in there, try and use his speed or something.
That was a good punt return.
I can't stand.
Yeah, that was good.
And I told Farrell this when we were talking about their draft. I can't stand this mentality of this guy's just a special team player. This guy's just a special team player. It's like, dude, if you got guys in there, clearly some of these guys aren't working. Start rotating through and see what you got. Like, I don't understand why we have to be one-dimensional on anything.
That's what Eric and I were talking about yesterday. He's like, I don't understand why they're not, like, just bring him in and motion his ass all. Like, when Keenan would come in motion, that's when the Cowboys would be like, oh, crap, okay, let's start moving around. And I feel like motion kind of distracts people. And with Darius Davis, like, running him back and forth. You remember, oh, no, Gilbert, you weren't here yet. Patrick Mahomes' first season, that's what they did with Tyreek Hill. The first game
all over the place.
They were just moving every single play. And even Tyreek after the game said, I am freaking exhausted. Like, they ran me easily more than I've ever run in my life, because he was just going back and forth, and then they'd have him go long and do all this stuff.
Look what Miami does with them, or their personnel, to get guys open. Poetry in motion. Look at,
That's all Tua.
Don't listen to this idiot and reading his articles. I couldn't believe that. Like,
okay,
you know what's funny?
Let's go to the next question.
All right. All right, just real quick, yes or no? Can the Chargers rebound from this and make the playoffs?
No.
Okay, Vic.
I've already.
No, it's a tough AFC, man. If they were in the NFC, I say they have a chance, but
in the NFC South.
Yeah. True. That too. Yeah.
My Super Bowl pick is going to be saved.
Who
is it?
Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, and he's going to save my Super Bowl pick. Devontae Adams is going to get traded to there, and then boom, it's all going to be good to go. No, I'm kidding. Gilbert.
No, it's a very talented team, but injuries, and then like the Browns, the Jets.
I think they're talented individuals.
Yeah, like even like a team like the Texans, maybe they're not as good as the Chargers, but their schedule is freaking easy. So
not just that, most of their offensive line's injured, and they're still going to start. They're going to start trickling back. They're going to get better. I mean, it's an.
The problem is right now you're at a crossroads. These next few 4 or 5 games are going to be crucial. So
wrestling has.
If we lose next week, I think we can all answer no for sure.
Yeah, 2 and 4. That's pretty tough.
That's what Eric was telling me on the car ride back. He's like, watch them go into Kansas City and hit them, and then everybody's gonna be like, oh my god.
They're back. Psych, I've seen this
I
story
would bet
before.
the Chargers in this game against the Chiefs. I don't know why, but
No,
this is
I
when
don't
people.
trust the defense. That's why.
Not
Yeah,
without Mike Will. Mike Will loves playing at Arrowhead.
Yeah, you're missing
Yeah,
out
that's a
there.
huge loss.
But it could happen. The fucking Jets, sorry, Jets and the Browns had surprised
I'm
everybody.
gonna. I'm
You're
gonna
a
get
brownie now?
That I've been on their defense for a while, but their
You're
offense,
co-signing.
they are the best defense right now. I think.
Stop trying to pull an Eddie.
Yes,
So we co-signed for the
leave
Cowboys.
that alone right
Jump
now.
on and off. Okay.
Okay, I know I'm gonna get interrupted with this, but can the Cowboys use this win over the Chargers
No.
to catch the Eagles?
No.
To the NFC East.
No.
Ken says no. I'll say hell no. Vic.
I'll say maybe. And that's because I have not liked what I've seen from the Eagles. I told you guys, until I see some improvement from the Eagles and things get
Behind
better
Julio
for
Jones,
them.
they're gonna be all right.
Okay. Well, I'll take
No,
your word for it.
I'm
but
messing with you. No, I'm
I know, I
messing
know.
System,
So,
dude. It's a
I
new
just say
system.
maybe if things get better for them, they still haven't played each other. We'll see how they look against each other. I'm interested to see what happens with those two teams, but the NFC East is a little better than I thought. The Giants are playing a little bit better with Tyra Taylor.
Except for he's given Brian Dable strokes during the game.
Yeah.
Gilbert.
I was gonna say real quick, just to say something real quick, bouncing off of that, right? Everybody forgets that, like, while they were dominant last year, yes, the first year with Sirianni and Shane Steichen as the OC, they barely made it. I think they were either 8-9 or 9-8 or something like that, like barely above 500. And it's like those things take time, and I think it's probably just taking Jalen Hurts time and some of those guys to get used to this new offensive system.
You know what it is,
And,
Dan? You know what it is? It's
What?
their defensive coach and offensive coordinator. Their offensive coordinator has never called plays, and you can see he's struggling. Like he got served by Robert Saleh on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, it's gonna take time if he's any good. If he's not, they'll probably move on. But that's the thing, like it takes time to get accustomed to it and everything else. So I think they're just too talented. There's no way they don't cruise to an NFC championship because they're just that talented.
Gilbert.
Yeah, two things. Quick promo on the Thursday show where I make a lot of picks for the week. I did say watch out for those Jets. I didn't pick them, but I took the points there for the Jets.
There you
cover.
go. Now you hear that?
The Jets
Didn't
cover,
pick 'em, I
like
said,
I
hey,
mentioned. So you want good knowledge? Check me out on Thursdays.
Ponle
And
ojo.
and then just nod, but don't go off here. But the Eagles did not have Jalen Carter and Darius Slay. I talked to those two guys in the locker room the week before, so there you go. Maybe there is something there. But that was interesting.
Oh, he was on the Cowboys side this week, Fada.
Yeah,
Daniel.
Oh, wow. And to answer the question, no, they won't catch the Eagles. They're gonna be fine. But I think the Cowboys, are still a wild card team. They'll probably be the 6th or 5th seed.
And then
whatever.
they'll go to San
then-
Francisco and
And
get
then they'll lose
out
in
of
the first and second round. The same Cowboys.
kicked out of the.
There's a bunch of filth in the NFC.